Hello again. In this little tutorial, I want to talk a little bit about the different settings and configuration stuff you can do in Anki. And there's a lot of stuff, and if you're really interested in all the details, I can recommend that you just make your research on YouTube. There are many very good Anki tutorials available. In this little tutorial, I will just show you what I have changed make changes from the default settings. What I have changed, yeah. So we go to Tools and Preferences. This is one place where we can do a lot of configuring. And I will just open it on my XG on the other screen. So then I can check what I have changed. So obviously the language, we have set this during the installation process. You can change it anytime to a different language. Video driver I have not changed. Don't know anything about that. Theme, yeah, this is, I think that Anki looks way cooler in the dark mode in conjunction with my board layout. So yeah, of course it's just a matter of taste, but I think the diagrams look way better with this dark background. But of course it's up to you. Then here user interface size is by default on 100%. I have changed this to 135. Main reason was that when I'm doing coaching, I think it shows a little bit better when the fonts are not so small. So you can play a little bit around with it, what looks best for you or for your needs. So I will do just make now the same changes so that it looks the same as on my normal installation. Yeah, here you can play around with these checkboxes. I have not changed anything here. Even though I'm a minimalist, I have not set it to minimalist mode. Yeah, so we go to the next tab. So here I only have changed the theme. I really recommend that you check out the dark. And then the interface size. Yeah, if everything looks fine for you, you can leave it on 100%, or you can do increase it a little bit so you get it's a little bit easier to read. Then the next tab is review. There I have changed nothing. So you can go on the help and you see the documentation, then there's an explanation to all these settings. But there's nothing I have changed here, so we will skip this. Then we go to editing. I think there is nothing I changed here. Yes, then syncing. It's everything is on default as well here. Yeah. Well, there's one thing to keep in mind. If you later on get difficulties with synchronization, and for example, you have messed something up and you don't see any pictures on your mobile device, for example, it's often a solution that you set here on next sync force changes in one direction, which means usually when you go on synchronization, then it try to match the changes or merge the changes. And when you say sync in one direction, force it, then you get a message when you start synchronization, and then you can decide which data you want to keep from which device, from web or your local. And so you can force to override in one direction without merging the changes. That you can just say, I want to update the web version, for example, with the data from local or vice versa. Something to keep in mind if you get in trouble. This may help to make this check mark here, and then on next synchronization, you will get this question in which direction you want to force the synchronization. Anyway, nothing more backups. I have not changed anything. Yeah, that's it from here. So not much. And we close it. Changes will take effect when you restart Anki. Okay, you see the layout did already change, so part of it already has its effect. The bigger letters here. So maybe just to show it, and I will close Anki and restart it again. By the way, if you have changed something, then the synchronization here is in blue, which means there are changes to update to the web. And yeah, but latest when you close Anki, it will synchronize anyway. But anytime you can start synchronization here manually by clicking on the sync button here. So I will close this and restart Anki again just to see. So the menu, the font should be a little bit bigger now. Yeah, so we just have to play around with it. I was quite happy with this 135%. I think it's way easier to read and yeah, much more convenient for me. So, and there's a second place where you can do some configuration. That is when you go to any of your decks. You see on the right side, you see this little icon here for the settings, and there you clicked on it, and then you have this context menu, and there you go on options. And I will do this here on my other PC as well. So, and here's one thing I told you in a previous tutorial, that by default Anki gives you 20 new cards per deck per day. And yeah, maybe at the start you get your first deck, you want to see everything on the first day. But in my case, I'm working with a lot of decks. I'm also learning with DX decks. He has created, I think meanwhile around 20 decks, so-called theme decks, where you have 25 positions for a specific theme or position type. And if you work with several decks and you get 20 new cards from each deck per day, this is not possible to handle anymore. So for me, I have changed this to 5, but just so that you know, the idea is that you get motivated to finish your stuff, so to speak, for each day, that you have a 0 on every deck, that you have learned everything which was scheduled for today. That's the idea. And if you set this number too high, of course, it depends on how many decks you work and how many time you have for your Backgammon studies. It depends which number is here ideal for you. So I set it to 5. You can change it later on or any time. This is the number of new cards you will get offered for learning for each new day. Okay, then the other stuff here, 200, I have not changed. What I have changed here, in the previous tutorial, we saw that if we say easy, the card will show up in 1 minute, or if it was good in 10 minutes. That's far too early for Backgammon. That may be good for when you are learning vocabulary, but not for Backgammon position. So I have changed this to 2 hours and 2 days. You can just I don't want to go too deep in the details. I just show you what I found was good for me to change these default settings. Then the graduating interval I have set to change to 3, and easy interval to 4. So these are my settings. Then insertion order, yeah, sequential, the oldest cards gets played first. I have not changed here anything. Then lapses, which I have seen here. Relearning step is here not 10 minutes. I have changed this to 1 day. Minimum interval I set to 2. And the leech threshold I left to 8. Yeah, you can play with this around with this. So these are the settings that work for me. Yeah, feel free to check the documentation and change it according to your needs. So display order, let me check. I have here deck card type, mix with reviews, mix with review date, then random. Yeah, I have not changed anything here. Then timer, maximum answer seconds. I have changed this to 7,200. Don't ask me why. Show answer timer, you can check this, which means then if you look at a position, you see a counter going up, so you see how long you have studied this. This will get displayed. I have set this on, but anyway, that are just my personal preferences, and I feel quite fine with it at the moment. So bearing audio, I have not changed any of the defaults. And then we have here advanced. Let me check. This is all the same. So I have not made any changes here. So that's it, basically. And yeah, you can have here different sets of settings, so to speak. I have never created a new one. When you go here, you can say add a preset, and then you can say for these decks I have these settings, and for other decks different settings. So in my case, all my decks I use the same setting, but feel free to experiment with that. Anyway, we go on saving, and then you see here it is quickly here changed here. So for today, get only for each deck only four new cards presented for each new day. Yeah, I think that's it. Basically, from the default settings I have changed. Really, if you want to go deeper into this and check the documentation of Anki, check tutorials, general Anki tutorials, which will explain this pretty good. But I think if you make the same settings as I have done here on my system, you should be good to go, I think, without having to worry about spending too much time on general Anki stuff, and you can go to the Backgammon stuff, the all-important stuff, rather quickly. So that's it for today. See you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.